Joining me now, Congressman Byron Donalds from House Oversight, also House Budget and Small Business. Congressman, you know, everything that's going on in the economy, it stems from the botched pandemic lockdowns and shutdowns. Dr. Fauci is now resigning. He'll leave by December. But Republicans say they're going to probe him and subpoena him over the pandemic and funding dangerous superviruses or vaccines and drugs. What's your insight on this? What do you have?
Listen, I think that if Dr. Fauci is going to go ahead and resign like he's indicated, that does not mean he's free from being subpoenaed to appear in Congress. Because at the heart of the most disastrous and most botched public health strategy, probably in world history, is one Anthony Fauci. He's the center of it. He's one of the reasons why so many cities were locked down for so long, causing so many economic harms, causing children to be further behind in their education. It all starts with him, let alone the gain of function research that, yes, he signed off in funding. So he needs to come before Congress, whether he's an employee of the federal government or not. You know,
so this comes a week after CDC Director Rochelle Walensky admitted to mistakes in how they handle the pandemic. You know, there's so much to unpack here. Fauci's going to get a $414,000 pension. It grows to $530,000 in just 2 years. And, you know, the other thing, too, Congressman, President Biden in March vowed, he said, we're going to go after the criminals who stole billions of dollars in relief money meant for small businesses and millions of Americans who were laid off. But a restaurant that Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, invested in got more than that restaurant company got more than $1.7 million in government pandemic loans wiped out, forgiven. That's a company in Sonoma. So what is going on here?
Listen, let me be honest about something. Joe Biden's not going after Paul Pelosi. Neither's Merrick Garland. Nobody else is going after him. He likes to talk tough and sound good, like he's standing up to the quote-unquote rich. Meanwhile, this dude signs a bill last week that gave tax cuts to the rich. So, America, don't be fooled by Democrat talking points. They do this mess all the time. Meanwhile, through the back door, they let their buddies who are rich, they let their buddies in New York who have tons of money, or Silicon Valley who have tons of money, they let them do whatever they want. As long as it sounds good for America, they will continue to run their mouths while little actually gets done.
And Congressman, I like your reaction to HBO's Bill Maher slamming what's happening with DC and spending and pandemic programs. Watch this.
Doesn't really make me a conservative, does it, that I don't want to be absolutely robbed blind? Is there some number at which I go, you know what? You are just taking my money and wasting it and letting people steal it. Makes me a little less excited about the money they're planning to spend. The Democrats, we're the good government party. Why don't they do it? And why aren't the Republicans who are supposed to be, we're the mean old man to watch your money, why don't they do their part? Nobody does any of their part that they should do.
There was cheering and applause at that last line. Congressman, your reaction to that? I mean, New York Times is reporting COVID jobless benefits fraud estimated at more than $163 billion. One estimate came in that was $400 billion.
Listen, jobless benefits, there was fraud. EIDL program, massive fraud. All through the federal government, all the time, there's massive fraud. And the response from the Democrats is more programs, more spending, more taxes. It is a joke. Every American should be upset about this. And this is not about Republicans versus Democrats. This is about the hard-earned money of the American people being taken from them by the federal government, only to be wasted in programs where we don't even really know if they're efficient and effective.
Did you vote
against this? We actually need to start wind a bunch of these programs.
Did you vote?
I sure did.
You voted against all this type of spending, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, ma'am, I did. 100%. Okay. And I'd do it again.
Congressman Donalds, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you.